Okay, so if I asked you about health, like what is being healthy, chances are you start talking about defense, right? You know, fighting off germs, attacking inflammation, battling fatigue. It's all very combative language.
It really is.
Yeah.
That's kind of the default setting, isn't it?
Yeah.
That health means aggressively defeating every little thing we see as a threat. And that's exactly what the sources we pulled together for today really challenge. They're inspired by, well, what we're calling the 2025 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine.
Right. And our mission today is to really dive into this breakthrough because it seems like it's not just about immunology, is it? It feels like it gives us a map almost for deeper psychological resilience, maybe even spiritual resilience. We're exploring this idea of a unified dual security system. It suggests that maybe the best defense in our bodies and our minds isn't just pure aggression, it's something else, intelligent peacekeeping.
It's pretty amazing, actually, how often hard science ends up reflecting these broader principles. We've looked at the immune system as this kind of military force for so long, but this Nobel, it recognized something different, a system of active self-control, and that's absolutely critical for the body to even survive. And if we can grasp how the body keeps the peace internally, maybe we can figure out how to do that inside ourselves too.
Okay, so let's ground this in the science first. The 2025 Nobel, it went to Shimon Sakaguchi, Mary Brunkow, and Fred Ramsdell. And their big discovery wasn't a new weapon, was it? It was about finding the system that stops the body from, well, shooting itself in the foot, preventing friendly fire.
Exactly that. Before their work, yeah, we knew the immune system was incredibly good at finding and destroying invaders, foreign things. But the big puzzle, the thing researchers couldn't quite figure out, was self-recognition. Why do those killer T cells sometimes turn against the body itself? Why do people get diseases where their own immune system attacks healthy tissues? You know, like type 1 diabetes or lupus or MS.
Yeah, and autoimmune diseases are so common, right? Millions of people affected. It highlights how high the stakes are. This wasn't just a theoretical question. It was a real, sometimes deadly, failure of self-control within the body.
And that's where the discovery of regulatory T cells or TREGs was such a game changer.
Yeah.
Sakaguchi, Brunkow, and Ramsdell identified them as the Peacekeeper cells. These aren't just background noise. They're actively managing the immune response. They are the key part that enforces tolerance towards our own body. Self-tolerance.
Tolerance. That's the word. It sounds passive. But what does active tolerance mean inside the body?
It means the peacekeepers hit the brakes. So imagine the alert cells sound the alarm, right? And the action cells start fighting off, say, a virus. The TREGs step in to make sure that response is proportional, it's measured, it's localized. They stop the kind of widespread damage, the inflammation that could actually harm the body more than the virus. They basically teach the rest of the immune system, hey, these healthy cells, they're us. Don't attack.
Wow. So without them, the system designed purely for protection could actually end up destroying us. That makes the TREGs, well, not just important, but maybe the most critical piece of the whole security setup.
They absolutely hold the balance. If you picture the body's security network, you see this essential trinity. 3 parts, each with a distinct vital role.
Okay, let's break down that trinity. First up, the alert cells. These are the helper T cells, the scouts, the interpreters.
Exactly. They spot the threat, figure out the context, like, is this a major bacterial invasion or just a minor fungal thing? And then they organize the defense using chemical signals. They're the intelligence unit.
Got it. Then second, the action cells, killer T cells, the operators who get sent in.
Yeah, they're the ones who actually do the work. They destroy cells that have gone wrong. Maybe they've been hijacked by a virus or turned cancerous. Precision strikes. They execute the plan.
And finally, the ones the Nobel highlighted, the peacekeeper cells, the regulatory T cells. They provide the active restraint. They manage the action cells, making sure they don't mistake healthy self for enemy. This whole system, alert, action, and restraint. It really feels like a template for success in almost any complex situation, doesn't it?
It really does. And that's the perfect bridge, actually, from the science to our inner lives. I mean, think about it. If the body, which faces constant threats from microbes, needs active peacekeeping just to survive, how much more does the mind need something similar? Especially with the constant flood of information, stress, internal criticism. We need our own inner security system.
Yeah, the psychological or spiritual immune system, our inner security network, it needs to do the same things, right? Spot harmful patterns, act against them, but also, crucially, restore balance so we don't just turn on ourselves mentally.
The parallels become really clear when you translate that cellular trinity. So what's the inner equivalent of the helper T cells, the alert cells?
Okay, I'd say that's our awareness cells, our ability to notice and accurately name what's going on inside. That moment when you recognize, that feeling is stress, or, that's envy creeping in, or, whoa, that thought pattern is pure self-sabotage, and then maybe calling for backup, like reflection or talking to someone.
Good. And the action cells, the killer T cells, what's their inner counterpart?
That has to be our discernment cells. It's the courage, right? To set a boundary, maybe cut ties with something toxic or challenge a belief that's holding you back. It's actively removing those inner pathogens using knowledge, maybe some grit.
And the crucial one, the regulatory T cell analog, the inner peacekeepers.
The harmony cells. Okay.
Yeah.
So just like Tregs stop autoimmunity, these harmony cells stop what? Self-attack, overreaction.
Exactly. They prevent cycles of self-punishment or letting one difficult emotion completely take over. They help us integrate tough feelings without getting hijacked. It's the compassion we show ourselves, the ability to find proportion again. So our strength, our discernment, doesn't harden into rigidity or bitterness towards ourselves or others.
That's a really important point because, if harmony is about restraint and compassion, does that mean we become passive? Like, if I need to use my discernment to cut out something toxic, shouldn't I be aggressive about it? Unrelenting.
That's a great question, actually, because it shows why you need the whole trinity. Harmony isn't passive acceptance. Remember, immune tolerance is active recognition that leads to intentional restraint. Your harmony cells step in after the discernment has done its necessary work. So you cut away the toxic influence, fine. But the harmony cells stop you from then turning that same destructive energy inward. They allow for healing. They prevent that burnout you get from constant internal warfare, even if the initial fight was justified.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. The fight might be external, but the peacekeeping has to be internal to prevent self-destruction. So we know what the body fights: viruses, bacteria, etc. What are the spiritual germs this inner security network contends with?
Yeah, the sources we looked at list these really corrosive forces, things that chip away at meaning, break connections, lead to that feeling of inner emptiness. They name things like pervasive fear, deep-seated hatred or resentment, envy, corrosive cynicism, and just outright despair. These aren't just passing bad moods. They're patterns that can take hold, replicate, and isolate us. These are the things the harmony cells need to manage, and the discernment cells sometimes need to actively prune.
It's fascinating how the core lesson seems identical for both body and, soul, for lack of a better word. Defense needs intelligence. It needs proportion.
Absolutely. Think about the common ground.
Yeah.
The systems that last, whether physical or psychological, aren't just about brute force. They're guided by memory and restraint. When your body clears an infection, it keeps memory cells, sure, but it dials down the inflammation. If that fire just kept burning, it would destroy healthy tissue.
And psychologically. Yeah. If we keep replaying old hurts or failures with the same raw intensity, that is like psychological inflammation, isn't it? The harmony cells stop that bitterness, that harsh self-judgment from becoming chronic. They break those cycles of self-punishment that just drain us.
Which brings us right to the core idea. This really is a dual security system. The health of the body and the health of our inner life, they're not separate tracks. They reinforce each other through these parallel processes.
Okay, let's walk through that sync again, how they move together, starting with just noticing something's wrong.
Right, stage one, detection. Physically, sensors in the body recognize a pathogen by its chemical signature. Psychologically, our inner awareness picks up on a harmful pattern, maybe doom scrolling, maybe rising anxiety, maybe that familiar spiral of negative self-talk.
Then comes action. Physically, killer T cells eliminate infected cells. Psychologically, our discernment acts, sets the boundary, stops the doom scrolling, challenges the negative thought.
And then, crucially, regulation. Physically, the Tregs calm the immune response, prevent autoimmunity, stop runaway inflammation. Internally, our harmony cells restore compassion, they balance our emotional reaction, they check our judgment before it turns self-destructive or overly harsh.
And the last piece, memory. The physical immune system remembers infections to respond better next time, hopefully without overreacting. Psychologically, we remember lessons learned, maybe wisdom from traditions, past experiences. That memory helps anchor us against future challenges, future bouts of despair or cynicism.
And the implication here is huge.
Yeah.
You really can't have lasting health in one system if the other is constantly out of balance. Think about it. A mind trapped in chronic self-attack will likely manifest physical inflammation over time. And vice versa. A body dealing with constant physical inflammation puts the mind on high alert, making it really hard for those harmony cells to do their job. They're deeply interconnected, peacekeepers working together or failing together.
So wrapping this up then, the big shift, The revolution, maybe, that the Nobel recognized isn't just about specific cells, it's the whole framework. True survival, true health depends on balancing action with restraint, not just on fighting harder.
Physically, yeah, the applications are already changing medicine. We're learning how to work with this trinity helper, killer, regulatory cells. We can potentially boost TREGs to treat autoimmune diseases, maybe dampen them slightly to help killer cells fight cancer more effectively in the tumor environment, and definitely use them to help the body accept organ transplants by promoting tolerance. It's huge.
And psychologically, the application feels just as concrete, even if it's internal work. Cultivating awareness, that's mindfulness, presence. Cultivating discernment, that's courage. Setting boundaries. And cultivating harmony, that's self-compassion, perspective, restraint. These are the tools, the inner cells that protect you, the listener, from that internal corrosion, from division, from burnout.
It really synthesizes beautifully into this practical idea.
Yeah.
Alertness, yes. Decisive action when needed, absolutely. But always guided by intelligent peacekeeping. If we really lean into this trinity of security, it could genuinely revolutionize how we approach not just physical illness, but also how we build resilience and find harmony within ourselves and maybe even with each other.
It's really a profound blueprint for a resilient life, isn't it? Drawn right from how our own bodies work at the deepest level. So if true health needs that intelligent defense, guided by proportion and restraint, here's something for you to think about this week. Where has your mind been attacking itself lately? Maybe through harsh self-criticism, maybe replaying old mistakes, maybe just endless worry. How could you specifically bring in your harmony cells, your inner peacekeepers, to actively restore some balance there, to consciously practice a little self-tolerance?